everybody, and welcome back to Hour 2 of Let's Roleplay Rag-a-Muffins. We are picking up where we left off with the team finally having, done up their ship and, getting all the stuff taken care of with property surveying. Exciting stuff, people! We are returning now to the exciting adventure of people going into a bar to get a drink and talk to someone.
Woo!
Hi, adventure!
That's some good adventure right there.
So anyway, yeah, so,
I swear if Thompson knocks up another spaceport floozy, I am tossing him off the ship.
oh, that Thompson.
Oh, I wish Bob was here.
Bob is taking care of Linda because Linda's got the cold, got the flu.
She's got the
space
Feeding
flu.
her chicken noodle soup.
No, she's got cat scratch fever. Anyway, so
Duhad, I hate you.
I hate myself.
You're gonna need to do some repairs on the ship if the interior is all fucked up.
God. Anyway, so yeah, you guys are going to the bar and you're bringing the crew with you as you go in to the bar. You actually see there is there's a robot standing outside who's kind of watching you guys as you come in. Big guy, bigger than most of the non-security, non-combat mechs you've seen around, but he doesn't look like a combat mech. He looks like a weird modified engineer, but the design. In fact, actually, I'll give you guys a chance on this one. Who here has knowledge?
I do.
I have knowledge.
I have tech, but not knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Rolling the knowledge.
Brains knowledge?
Brains knowledge.
Okay, let me roll that.
27.
Nice. Okay, so you definitely know this. We'll find out what it is.
25.
26.
Okay, not too shabby at all. Okay, so winner, I don't know what you got, but basically everyone.
I didn't roll.
Okay.
Because I don't have any knowledge.
Okay, well you'll get from everybody else then.
Yeah.
So y'all recognize this as a Brotherhood of Blind Saints design. They don't usually look like this. This is a modified one, very clearly. But these are helper robots.
Brotherhood of Blind Xenos, more like.
Oh. But yeah, the Brotherhood of Blind Saints, for those who are unaware, mostly those of you in the audience who I'm sure are not aware, are an sort of a pseudo-monastic order. Well, basically, they're straight up a monastic order of spiritualists who have psionic powers and believe that psionic powers are the universe's way of kind of guiding and directing us. And so they ritualistically blind themselves and try to let themselves be guided by the universe. In a lot of parts of the galaxy, people with fully awoken third eyes are viewed as being rather dangerous, partly because of that whole psi overload thing. So they, often come in to basically rescue kids who would otherwise, be ostracized or, even killed. And instead do the humane thing of pouring acid into their eyeballs and raising them as, monks. They mean well.
It's a quaint ritual.
Yeah. And these robot
Our next
design.
mission.
Soothing.
Yeah. These robots are basically helpers who allow the monks to find their way around when they're off their floating station, the sanctuary. This one, again, as I said, is been clearly modified to look almost like a security mech or a battle mech. And as you walk in, he's eyeing you up as much as a robot can eye you up.
Kaufman salutes him.
You don't look like an Atlas bot, so he just sort of nods at you.
I'm going to, kind of avoid looking at the giant pour acid in my eyes robot.
Fair enough. You actually also see that he's got like where his fingers end. There's like little openings where you can see glinting cybernetic weapons hidden inside. So he looks a little intimidating.
She gives a coy wave as she walks inside.
He just sort of like raises two fingers in like a little salute.
Adorable.
As you walk by though, he actually stops you, Raphael, Raph, and says in a kind of quiet voice, "You're the one who's been on the news recently."
Unfortunately.
You here to see McCready?
If I can get some time, yes.
He just sort of nods at the bar door. Inside. Don't cause
Much
any
obliged.
trouble.
I never try to.
We all do. Still happens anyway.
At this, Raphael gives him a nod.
So as you walk into the bar, it's actually less crowded than it was the other day. And from the way that you can see, the bartender, Brandon, like looking at you guys as you come in, you get the distinct impression that like the word came in before you guys arrived that you were coming. You guys this whole meeting was not so spur of the moment, and that people have been kind of keeping clear just in case shit went down. But one person who is in the bar is a lone woman, sitting with her back to you and drinking something.
Bang, no.
Yeah. The fucking like turrets pop down from the ceiling.
I will shoot you myself.
No, yeah. So, like,
I don't even have a gun.
God. You just put up your fingers and call bang, and like all these turrets come down, really tense, and then they slowly like lift back up.
No, yeah, just none of that.
Yeah, no, I figured.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick look around the bar, see if there's anyone else about.
You see two other people sitting relatively nearby. A woman with oddly gray hair and a Jundi with a pair of very dark goggles.
Oh, great.
Yeah, the Jundi is apparently busy with his meal, but the woman is like watching you out of the corner of her eye. But neither seem interested in moving to like intercept you or anything.
Okay, gonna go ahead and walk on up.
So you, as you get closer and like you kind of move around to the front of the woman, you can see that she's not looking healthy. Like she looks kind of fucking, drained, and. Like she's wearing a big brown coat that looks kind of like it's a little too large for her. But, as you kind of come around to her, she looks up at you and says, "Raph, I was told you're looking for me."
I am. I'm going to take a quick moment here. Do I know her by any previous, since she's using my nickname rather than my full name?
No, you actually don't know her at all. In fact, she's not very famous or anything. Like she has a picture up on the bar, but that's just because she and the bartender are close. She's kind of a nobody. So either Eric told you something about her, or she has information sources outside of.
Would I know something about her?
Yes, actually, you very likely would. In fact, I'm just gonna say you would because fuck it, why not? You know that this woman is actually relatively recently out of Atlas. Like she was out, she was basically being shipped out shortly before you were stolen, and that was still pretty recently. She kind of has a bit of a reputation on Atlas, not like as a famous, big, important figure or anything, but as someone who very recently was the lucky winner of one of the games.
Okay.
Yeah, she managed to make it out. Before
I'm
then,
gonna use my role-playing fault. And Kaufman, upon seeing her, will go, "Hello, prisoner."
As you say that, like, she tenses immediately, and
So does Raphael.
yeah, like the bars
So does
are, like,
everyone probably.
yeah. She stares directly at you. It's like, what did you just call me?
Prisoner.
Her hand goes below the bar, and you actually hear like a little creaking from like the ceiling as mechanical things start to move, and it's like, where the hell did you get that robot?
Lucretia's gonna walk over, try to put an arm around it, and like get it away from this horrible.
It came with my ship.
Oh yeah, by the way, you totally get a point for that. And she then like turns her attention to you and says, you're those guys who stole the Atlas ship, aren't you?"
No, we're the ones who bought the Atlas ship that was apparently stolen and came with that.
So that thing came out of Atlas.
It's been modified, but yes, was originally programmed by Atlas.
Okay, I'm actually gonna roll a thing real fast here. Oh god. So
Rafe points at it himself. You can imagine my joy.
yeah, she actually looks like, it's kind of weird. Like, it looks like she's about to like draw her like a weapon or something, but just as she starts to do so, her arm just stops. Like, not the rest of her body, but her arm like freezes in place. And you see the Jundi with the dark glasses like is now actually looking at in your direction. And she like kind of holds there for a second and then relaxes and says, "Fine, whatever. What do you want?"
If you've heard about us having the stolen ship, you've also probably heard about the rest of what we've been wrapped up in with.
Yeah, I heard that you guys assassinated a Norsco executive on orders from Atlas.
Please, that's bad for business.
Yeah, I sort of figured that you wouldn't be looking for me if you were, actually in Atlas's pay. For that matter, I kind of figured this isn't exactly something that Atlas would have, hired a couple of, people who bought one of their stolen ships to do. They kind of hold a grudge.
Being fair, I can imagine that they chose us as cat's paw simply because of the fact that we had the ship.
She nods her head. That follows.
And if I'm being completely fair, I could easily see them being double think enough to go ahead and pretend that a ship got stolen, put it in a team of operatives, and then go on with it. What I don't follow is that they'd not be so racist as to not use an all-human crew.
Yeah, your team seems a little cosmopolitan. Yeah. She especially looks at Winter at
Lucretia. Yeah.
It's like
he's sitting there telling.
She stares at the spirit of Lucretia, which is Winter.
Yes, she stares at like Lucretia's stand, which is Winter. But no,
Sagittarius?
God,
She
yeah,
just
yeah.
two stands.
But yeah, no, she like looks at
Wingman and Sagittarius.
Oh God. But yeah, like especially because currently you only have one actual. Like if you had two human members of your team here, she might be a little bit more suspicious. But she's like, one human's a little light for Atlas, even in their mercenaries.
Yeah.
Which
is why I'm thinking that it's a cat's paw job. That being said, I'm looking for anything I can get on internal situation in Atlas at the moment. Because, frankly, I have a need to clear my name, and also, I'd like to strike back.
She kind of rolls her jaw a little bit and says, well...
One station was not nearly enough for this.
Well, I do like that idea. All right. What exactly are you looking to find out? I wasn't exactly, high upper echelons or anything. I can't, tell you about, what the internal politics back home were, but...
Where is she?
Where's
Anything.
Scarecrow?
Look,
Where's the one who did
anything
this?
that I can get is worthwhile. Any rumor, there is anything at the internal organization. I don't need to know, the detail. Well, I do need to know the details of plots, but I respect that you don't have that information.
All right.
Or even any contacts that you might have that are still in that I could follow up on.
Actually, I might be able to help you there.
Excellent.
Back in Atlas, there's sort of a... Well, I wouldn't go so far as to call it a resistance movement or anything. It's more just a bunch of dumb punk kids, but, the type of dumb punk kids who like to, throw around pirate radio stations and, try and do the whole truth is out there. Not armed revolutionaries, but the kind of stuff that you get whenever you have, young people who are too stupid to realize that the, people they're throwing shade at are more than happy to line them up against a wall.
Those type.
Yeah, but if you're looking for someone who might be able to give you some inside information on Atlas, I can actually get you the, if they haven't changed it, some of the codes that they use to broadcast so you can listen in on their info. Unfortunately, their broadcasts are rather localized to Atlas, which means you guys gotta get close to Atlas.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah. and she-
Besides, we run away really well.
I heard you guys are still alive after causing trouble in Norsco. So, clearly you've got that down pat.
Yeah. Anything that you want blown up in Atlas?
Oh, you better believe it. There's tell you what. I'll give you the information you want. I know this is sort of a long shot. I don't expect you to, necessarily be able to do this, but just for the thought that it might happen, if you guys can, try to knock out this one, this little moon. It's right near the edge. It's a little, shithole moon. It's been dug all the way out. It's basically just an arena now. If you can blast that thing out of the sky, I would be so grateful. If you
Do
can
we
just,
care about any of the potential people that are in that arena?
Unfortunately, there might not be much of a chance of getting anyone out, but if you can, she, looks over to her companions and, calls over and, yells at the woman. Hey, can you, put aside some, my next couple paychecks? And just sort of shrugs. Yeah, you take out that thing and save the people who are still inside it, and I'll get you whatever I can manage. Don't know exactly how much that'll be, but if times are good, might be a pretty decent paycheck for you.
Well, we are mercenaries. We'll see what we can do. Any information that you have on it is better.
Yeah, it's not heavily defended. It's basically just an entertainment platform. Unfortunately, being inside of Atlas, it has the same problem that hitting anything inside of Atlas does, namely that there's Atlas security everywhere around the perimeter. But if you're inside, most of what you're going to deal with is ground forces, the type of people who are designed more to deal with rebelling gladiators than, an actual armed revolution or, external forces. Dangerous, but nothing I'm sure a group of, talented mercs can't handle.
Speaking of mercs, I have a
Flatter
question.
us.
What was that, Red?
I just have a question. Are there any Atlas hired mercs on the station? If so, do you know what company they're from?
On the moon or on the station outside of it?
Well, whoever's guarding the prisoners.
The prisoners will be guarded by Atlas locals. Mercenaries will probably be eventually cycled into Atlas security if they actually manage to do enough to, earn that golden ticket. But by the time they're fully indoctrinated, they're basically Atlas citizens, no longer members of individual mercenary companies. Atlas likes to keep things nice and controlled within their own borders.
Okay. Gives me what I need to know for the paint job.
You actually thinking about trying to get inside Atlas?
We've done it before. Well,
She-
we've bypassed their security checks at least once. And if we're going to save the people, there's nothing better than an armored troop transport.
Well, hell, I might actually end up losing a couple of paychecks on that then. Worth it.
We of course make no promises on this.
She shrugs. Honestly, if you people are serious about wanting to, get back at Atlas, even just getting some egg on their face, I'd be more than happy to, at the very least, give you the codes for those radio stations.
Oh, absolutely.
She takes a little, data pad thingy and, starts making notes. As she does so, you notice the robot's gone. Not the robot outside, but your robot. Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
You've waddled over to where the Jundi and the woman are sitting.
Hello, civilian and sub-civilian. How has your day cycle been?
The woman looks at the Jundi and asks, which one is which? Jundi, just says, I think I'm the sub-civilian. Woman says, yeah, it's been fine.
Good. Would you like to speak to my companion?
Which one?
Takes off the ear thing.
Oh, God.
Firm.
Yeah,
Her designated name is SoftServe, and would like to collect data on the outside world.
the Jundi
So what
starts
better
rubbing
than
his forehead.
Hmm.
This is not happening. This is not happening.
So what better than an amphibian and a
Human.
woman? I just remembered he's colorblind, so he can't.
Oh, God, yes.
A designation female of the human species.
Even the designation of gender is not quite understandable.
She reaches out kind of uncertainly to take the communication device. Just you just want me to talk to your friend?
Yes.
Right? Pops in her ear. And, starts talking to SoftServe ice cream machine. She at first seems kind of weirded out, and after a while she starts getting kind of into it, and is just animatedly talking with this ice cream machine. Eventually pops it out and hands it back to you she's good. She's kind of nice. I like her.
Thank you. If I could express emotion, I would describe it as affection towards SoftServe.
I get that feeling. The Jundi is still rubbing his head why is this my life?
You sub-civilian.
Yes.
Or is your xenofish scalp doing well?
Yeah, my scalp is fine. Thank you for asking. Do I gotta talk to the ice cream machine now? Really?
Yes, you may. Though do not be insulted if she refers to you in a similar colloquialism as I do.
Yeah, why wouldn't she? All right, yeah, hand her over. She puts it in here yes, hello, yes, hi. Yes, I'm the frog. Yes. No, I do eat ice cream. Yes. No, that's quite all right. No, I don't. Not yet anyway, but oh God, no. Oh, no. That was just, why would you even think that? No. Chocolate. Actually, mint. I mean, do you get the chunks in SoftServe or? Okay, then mint, yeah. He finally pops up like, okay, here you go. There, yeah. It was nice
Thank you.
meeting her.
I will designate the Jundi as compliant.
Oh, it's everything I ever dreamed of.
I bid you farewell. Here, have some mints I have acquired from my what is it? From shipmates.
You have like a bunch of like hotel pins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
He takes them and is like, oh, thank you. That's very nice. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
And I will take my leave unless you have further information on how to become organic.
Well, not really, not exactly. It's always sort of more come naturally to me. The woman actually says like, well, actually, on Bigsy there's fuck, I'm actually gonna look up the name. I'm gonna look up the name so I actually have it fucking written down rather than trying to fucking guess it. Biotic parasite. Just gonna copy paste the word. Okay, back on Bigsy, there is a company that is called. The company is called. Where the fuck did? Why is everything so hard to find? Why did I have to write this book to be so fucking long?
I love it.
It's stupidly huge. All right, here we go. So, PLA, the Brotherhood, the Atlas Corporate States. Well, yeah, let's not mention them right now. Here we go. Blue Dwarf Cybernetics, and here we go. Kindreds. Kindreds Incorporated. They're the biotechnical.
Kindreds?
Yeah, Kindreds.
Okay.
Kendrutz Incorporated. They're the major biotechnical company basically. They deal with a lot of medical supplies. They also do a lot of they do a lot of work with biologics. Symbiotic parasites for the most part, but they also do stuff with basically attaching cloned body parts to things. If you want to make yourself organic, they could probably help you, though I'd be very careful that you always make sure to bring someone with you. General rule of thumb is that if you're disposable and you don't have a buddy in when you go in for an operation there, they'll just declare you dead and use your body for whatever they want.
Well, keep in mind, I will return to give each of you a affectionate hug once I have received such operations.
The two just sort of, like, the one just sort of looks at the Jundi and then shrugs, like, all right, thanks.
I take my leave.
Take care, little buddy. Yeah, good. Good luck with your organic ice cream problems.
Turns back to the group.
Yeah. So yeah, do you have any other questions for Kat while we got her here?
Let's see. So we've at least got a line. We've got a target of opportunity and potentially a payday.
Yeah.
You actually have an opportunity to make a little bit of money on this job. Told you it would happen.
Explosions are our business, and our business is good.
Damn Skippy.
Let's see. Just trying to think about anything else.
don't think so for me.
What are the names of your companions?
Wait, who are you asking this to?
Can't.
Oh yeah. She's like, oh yeah. That's Gilda and that's Brother Cag. And outside, you've already met Lucky.
The murder bot.
Hey.
By the way, I am wearing dark glasses at this point.
That's rude.
Yeah, she
Oh.
frowns at you
No,
like, hey, he isn't a murder bot. He's very friendly. He occasionally murders people, but I really wouldn't define him as that.
I've seen
more
what
of a
they do to
hobby?
people with their-
Yeah, it's
I
more
see what
like
they
a passion.
I've seen what they do to people. What they do to people that can access psionic powers. It's
Cag's one of the Brotherhood.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a monk or something. I'm pretty sure, if you're like insulting whatever his weird faith is, that's like really rude. You see the
Whatever
Jedi
his
sigh
weird
in the background. Go, thanks, Cag.
Weird faith.
Oh.
And for the record,
Maybe they are Atlas.
Raphael thinks, oh great, not just a Jundi, but a monk Jundi.
Oh my god. Oh, fantasy race.
All
A Jundi princess. Funny, she doesn't look Jundi.
Jundi?
God damn it.
Wouldn't it be Jundish in that case?
Jundish, yes. Oh god. Okay, no, but yeah. But yeah, she's like, yeah, no, don't insult his weird religion. It's his thing.
But anyway,
Any cultural information, like the low-level stuff, that might be used to blend in that you have for Atlas?
Oh, yeah, actually, that's a pretty good question. Atlas is kind of, like, people like to kind of turn it into a whole propaganda thing about how, everyone in Atlas is just all the time going around sneering and spitting on pictures of other races or whatever. And I mean, that's definitely the way that kind of they like to sell themselves to the outside world. And she kind of shoots a dirty look at Kaufman, the way they tend to build their machines.
He waved.
She goes, but the thing is, most Atlas citizens, the way that we kind of get brought up, it mostly just feels like it's a pretty normal place to be. Like, no one questions that it's, that other races out in the galaxy or even most other humans are in some way inferior to us. But we don't exactly go around like trumpeting that all the time. For the most part, it's just quiet, happy people who don't ask any questions and expect that if they keep their heads down and try not to make a fuss, eventually their hard work will be rewarded because the system works, and that's how they're supposed to be rewarded. Obviously anyone who tries to rock the boat ends up getting picked up, but Atlas manages to turn all of that into the idea that anyone disconnected with the system is inherently a dangerous element that needs to be removed in order to prevent good, honest working citizens from being put into trouble. They sell this notion that the reason that some people just don't get ahead is because those positions and those resources that should have gone to them are instead getting getting used up repairing the damages done by the people who are now on their TV screens being butchered. So they end up feeling, justified in hating those people because the only reason they're not getting ahead is because those are the people who've already screwed them over. So it's kind of weird. Like, you end up in a place where you'll probably find yourself in a place where everyone just sort of unquestioningly agrees that anyone who's being targeted by, the corporate state is, not only justified in being, butchered, but that they should be glad for it because they're personally being hurt by those people's existence. And you're going to get a lot of that. You're going to get a lot more of that from the security, because security and traders, anyone who's at risk of being exposed to radical elements are very carefully, hand selected and put through rigorous education to make sure that they are as loyal as physically possible.
Okay, no 90s.
Are there any hardcore revolutionaries that you know of?
Not that I'm aware of, though admittedly most of them would have to keep their heads down just in order to avoid being attacked by the corporate state.
Yeah.
I'm sure they exist. I mean, revolutionaries exist just about everywhere where corruption exists, but, with how brutal Atlas's crackdowns are, it's, it would be very difficult for them to act openly without, facing heavy repercussion.
Any unexplained bad things, I suppose, that happen on a consistent basis or in a certain area of Atlas space?
She kind of,
bad
waves her
things
hand.
specifically here for the state.
Yeah, she kind of waves her hand a little bit. It's hard to tell when you're on the ground level because they spin everything. They downplay certain tragedies, upplay other ones that are more convenient, make sure that you never are really sure where any sort of serious, danger is any sort of serious trouble is happening, just to make it always feel like it's always ever present, so that you always have to be watchful, but never so serious that you need to be worried. But I'd say more often than not, it happens outside of Atlas Prime. The homeworld is about as heavily controlled as the Federation's, capital on Earth, but the actual...
Rafe smiles at this.
Yeah. So I've never actually been there, but I've heard. And the rest of the planets are, a little bit more loosely controlled. They more kind of just follow in tow because that's what they've been told to do. So I'd imagine that most of the actual, serious damage is taking place out there.
Are there any archives of the news there?
Oh,
Propaganda
yeah.
can be wonderful to go ahead and analyze.
Oh, absolutely. On Atlas Prime, there are, great big, buildings dedicated just to archiving and maintaining the news and, containing information. They make a big deal, for a place that's as big on, truth spinning as Atlas is. They make a huge deal out of the fact that they have, really, 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 really thorough records on just about everything. Obviously, the way.
What about on the other worlds?
There are. It's sort of like data hubs. If you can imagine it, almost like a. Think about it a little bit like the outposts that are set around the rim. You have all these places that aren't really so much there to be the things that are protected, but they are still there and they're still controlled by the Federation. At least they were. In the same way, Atlas uses stations around the edge of Atlas space. Space stations, planetary bases, moon bases, and they use those to gather information. So you end up actually having a lot of information being stored there where it's then processed and sent back to Atlas Prime for permanent storage.
Okay. Is there a standard setup for that sort of thing? Anything that you know about?
Unfortunately, I was born on Atlas Prime, so I don't know too much about the outlying stations, but from what I can tell, there'll be big dedicated buildings for it. And they won't exactly hide them either. It's a prestigious job to be involved in information collection and filing. It's one of the primary, ideas of one of the primary things that any citizen can do for the state.
Rafe is starting to get an evil look.
So I guess it's like being a water carrier back at home.
She shrugs. Yeah, I guess. I have no idea if that actually is the case, but I imagine. You made it sound very important.
Mm-hmm. Well, considering we live in a desert and we require water, we only take the strongest.
Yeah, no, like information to Atlas is like water for someone who lives in a desert where there isn't a lot of water.
Do you have a line on outside of Atlas space propaganda that they put out?
Yeah, actually, I always try and keep up with some of it. It's actually kind of weird. There's actually two sources of Atlas propaganda that kind of gets out into the wider galaxy. There's the really obvious official stuff that they do by literally selling it through tapes and videos and the like, usually mixed in with the recordings of the games. That sort of entertainment goes for a pretty penny outside of Atlas space, even though it's technically considered an illegal entertainment. And of course, in between all those, they just keep in a lot of the propaganda that is designed for the normal citizens, only very slightly tweaked to make it seem like they're not being quite as outrageous about the rest of the galaxy, and really pushing the notion that Atlas itself is some sort of golden state. But they then have another system where whenever they actually contract mercenaries, they always make sure to fill them up with as much money, as many high grade weapons, and basically as much good stuff as they can afford to give for low ranking mercenaries. But what they do is they target outfits that are just kind of starting out, people who are just kind of desperate, so that other people suddenly say, hey, look, overnight Atlas will, make you go from just some random name that no one heard of before to a real threat. And that gets other people to decide they want to work for them. And because of Atlas's stricter policies about non-humans, that means that a lot of mercenary companies working around Atlas space just sort of end up, drifting towards that way of thinking, because they know that doing so is a good way of attracting Atlas's business. It's insidious, but it works.
Well, I don't know if it really makes them a threat. It gives them good guns, anyway.
Oh, no, a lot of Atlas's mercs are, pretty
What you're saying is you should cut off the skin of someone's face, disguise everyone as humans, and then pose as a human-only company, so that...
Actually, we've got a lot of humans on payroll.
Cat's actually just staring at Kaufman's like, holy shit, you are from Atlas.
Believe it or not.
No, that was out of character.
Okay, I know.
Otherwise, it would be in the weird military tone.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I know. But no, yeah. So it's like
You just need to keep.
she looks around like you brought.
I don't think anyone from Atlas would propose
that's
cutting off someone from Atlas.
I know.
Yeah.
No, that's a Federation special op type of thing.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Federation, we're the good guys. Don't look at that thing over there.
We
Don't look
ran
at
out
that
of
for-
we ran
The
out
Federation
of
is totally the
human
good guys.
faces.
The Federation is totally the good guys. They just happen to employ some bad guys to do the things that they don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
If you're gonna kill someone, at least get all their blood for water, 'cause that's vital.
Goddamn fucking Fremen.
You will return them to the stills.
Anyway, but yeah, no, she's God. Anyway, so yeah, what was the last question? The last question you asked.
Last question. No, that was in response to Belial.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Right,
okay, we've got a couple of different ways that we can go after things.
Right, yeah, and one of the things she actually was, I was going to say, that's based on was that she was basically going to look around at your subordinates and be like, yeah, no, I think you got enough humans that you could probably, make it look like you're a human company, and just as long as you have a couple of helmets around, they're not going to, like Atlas, as I said, is not. They're racist, but they're not, cartoon characters. They're going to, just assume that if you're a bunch of humans in Atlas space, in an Atlas ship, that you don't need a bunch of genetic tests to make sure that you're all definitely 100% pure blood Atlas humans.
Not that anyone could be half any race.
Yeah, not that that's actually really a thing. Well, I guess
I might have some trouble hiding my wings, but
Yeah, well, if you get on like some, if you can like fake a spacesuit to look like power armor or something, you can always just say that you're, heavy weapons specialist or something.
Ideas.
And I can wear that and walk around somewhat. Yeah. We just both stuff each other.
I do
we
have
both-
Inventor.
Oh god. We just cram both of us into a suit.
She stands up and actually like holds out her hand to you, like, listen, you people are crazy, but if you're actually going after Atlas the way you say you are, I got nothing but respect for all of you. I'll be keeping an eye out on the news, and if you pull this off, you better believe that I'm going to be paying you. And if anything happens, well, we'll see if we can pull your asses out of the fire, because I want to pay you if you pull this off.
Thank you, Catherine. Just remember, the reasonable man goes ahead and accepts the world as it is. Therefore, all progress rests on the unreasonable.
She laughs and shakes each of your hands in turn, except for Kaufman.
Fair enough.
No offense, Kaufman. Like the rest of the crew likes you well enough, but
Not gonna be that gal.
anyway. Excuse
We
me.
need our GM, don't die.
No, I am dead. Blarb.
Oh no.
Oh no. Glorp. But yeah, so yeah, you conclude your meeting and
On the way out, Kaufman goes, "Goodbye, civilian," and then
she looks kind of confused, but awkwardly waves after you as you go. Like, well, they didn't call me a prisoner at least. So we'll take I don't think it's actually been an hour yet, but we're gonna take another break here
our
because
last break was about at 7 or something. 7
Yeah, it was about I think we started at I think we started again I
It
don't
was
know.
like at 15.
Obviously, the
I
people
think.
watching this video are going to know exactly how long the video is, but I think
They're gonna-
I think we're coming up on the hour mark, and this is a really good place to break for it. So I don't want to go into a whole new section where you guys leave.
support
the
us on
station.
Patreon.
Support us on Patreon. No, we're not done yet. Unless you guys are done. I got one more chunk for you guys if you want it.
Yeah.
I'm totes down.
I can do another chunk.
Okay, then we'll break. See you guys in the call in 5 minutes. See those of you at home tomorrow.